Alright boys and girls, today we have a special video. This video is called How to Draw a Dump Truck, a dump truck. Dump truck is a truck that dumps things. Sand, rocks, whatever it needs to dump. Alright, let's start with the wheels. Now the dump truck often has, looking from the side, like 6 wheels. Dually wheels in the back, which means 2 tires per wheel, and single wheels in the front. Oftentimes the single wheels are kind of thick to let the weight be distributed, which means to be able to carry more weight. Okay, here we go. So we have our 6 wheel setup, and I'm going to get back to these wheels to add more detail, because you know it's all about adding detail. But anyways, here we are. So first thing we're going to do is I like to always start with the bumper, because the bumper, I don't know, it just seems to help me. So I'm going to put the bumper in there, and I'm going to put the radiator, which is where the truck gets all its air for the engine to keep it cool, because it's working so hard. It's like when you work hard on something, you need to stay cool, right? So that's the radiator. Here is the glass, that's where the driver will look out of. And they don't really need, drivers for dump trucks don't really need big cabs. They don't need to sleep over, because they're often working just for the day. But one thing, they definitely do need big tanks. Not as big as long transport trucks, but they need big tanks so they can get their job done. I like to put these straps that hold the tanks in place. You may have seen that on the other videos over here. Alright, let's put some windows in our truck. There we go. Now these trucks are often a little bit higher off the ground, or they have more clearance, so they can kind of go off-road a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit to get to, you know, like logging roads and so on. Okay, here we go. We're going to put an air filter here. Put some lights here. And then let's put some fenders on here. This guy's going to have fenders like that. Alright, next thing we're going to do, let's put the frame underneath here. These trucks must have very strong frames because they're carrying large loads. That puts a lot of strain on these trucks. Okay, so now we'll add more detail later, but now let's get to the, I guess you'd call it the payload area where they kind of sort of carry the load. There we go. Kind of like that, maybe? Okay, let's make it like a little more contoured around the wheels. There you go. So this whole thing is gonna tilt and dump all that dirt or logs or whatever it's carrying. And these things are made very strong out of very strong steel. You get reinforcements on the side so the whole thing doesn't bulge out. And I like to draw them like this. There we go. Cool. Alright, now those reinforcements have to be welded on. But what I like to do is I kind of like to draw some bolts so it looks like they're bolted on. I just think bolts look cool on trucks and machinery. Because bolts are, you can draw bolts, it's hard to draw welds. Well, here we go. Let's put some bolts in there to make this thing look tough. Even if they're not really that realistic, I think they make the truck look pretty cool. Alright. So all this part should probably be black colored in because we don't really see all the mechanics underneath here. The mechanicals like the suspension and all the hydraulic parts that move this thing up and down. Put some mud flaps on there though. There we go. And some lights. Okay, now the tires should be a little more aggressive, so we're gonna put little patterns like this. I think that makes it look pretty cool. It makes it look kind of tough, don't you think? Now it's starting to look more like a tough dump truck. Let's put some more details on the rims. There we go. And I'm gonna kind of put a line here. Pretend that there's some writing there, some writing there. Writing there, line, writing there, line. Writing, 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 line. Writing, writing. Okay, cool. Alright, gas cap. We gotta put a gas cap there close to the driver so he or she don't have to walk far. Notice how I said she? Because truck drivers are girls too. There's many female truck drivers. Door handle. And then, you know, we're gonna make a hood bolt because this thing is powerful and the engine doesn't fit under the hood, so we're gonna put a hood bolt there. Also, sometimes what these trucks have, I just remembered, they have this arm that extends from here, probably here to here, and it's an arm that has kind of a tarp or something. I don't know what it's called, but I think it's like a tarp, and it moves this way and it covers the payload. So let's say you're transporting something that could fly around, like kind of something sandy, right? Well, if you're driving on the highway, you don't want your payload or your rocks or sand to fly all around, right? So you're gonna take this thing and move it all the way back, and it's gonna cover it. That covers the payload, right? Okay, so now what I like to do, this is my secret to making things look really nice with drawing. You always want to add details. So do you see how I added the bolts? Well, the bolts make it look good, I think. But you can also, if you have a line that you think is important, let's say like the back of this truck, you can kind of add almost like little notches or just a little bit of shading, which just gives it a little bit more presence, right? I'd like to do the bottom of the truck like that. And you know what? It does take some time, but believe me, the more time you spend on something, the better it's going to turn out. Sometimes we put details and don't even know why, but at the end, they just kind of look good, you know? I love putting rivets on machinery. I think it looks good. Okay, well, you know what? I think that is about it for our truck. I think it turned out pretty nicely. I think it's a great looking truck. Now go draw your own, and if you draw one, you can send Little Puma your picture or record it on video and send it over. I want to see how well you did. Okay, bye for now.